evening and welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Sarah, Shea Garcia is literally carrying the women's lacrosse team on her back.
That's right, and the men's lacrosse team's shaky season continues. So get ready, Marquette Nation. Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam dunk! Oh, that's a poster. From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagles Sports Report. Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Hello everyone, I'm Sarah Richardson alongside Gabriel Cicerica. Although they already lost a player to the transfer portal, another member of the Marquette women's basketball team announces her departure from the program.
That's right, Sarah. Assistant coach Kelly Kamara will be leaving Marquette after just 2 seasons with the Golden Eagles.
And the Purdue Boilermakers announced Monday that Kamara will be coming home to join the staff as the assistant head coach.
Kamara returns to her alma mater for the second time as a staff member, but she is no stranger to the black and gold as she led Purdue to a national championship back in 1999.
And Kamara spent her time at Marquette developing the backcourt, which included helping senior guard Jordan King to a first-team All-Big East selection, and first-year guards Mackenzie Hare and Emily LaChapelle to All-Big East freshman team selections this past season.
But Kamara isn't the only one who will be seeing a familiar face this season.
That's right, Gabriel. Men's basketball head coach Shaka Smart will be going up against an old foe next season.
That's right, and Marquette announces Thursday that the Golden Eagles will be hosting the Texas Longhorns, meanwhile Smart's former team, and in the Big East Big 12 battle this upcoming season.
And this will be the first time Smart will be facing off against the Longhorns since he left Texas in 2021.
The Golden Eagles are coming off a commanding win in the Big East Big 12 battle as they crushed Baylor 96-70 last season.
Gabriel, I think the men's basketball team is sharing its incredible success with the women's lacrosse team.
You got that right, Sarah. Marquette continues its historic season against the Xavier Musketeers.
Trying to keep its near-perfect home record intact, the Golden Eagles welcome in the Musketeers to Valley Fields.
And although Xavier starts the scoring early, Marquette fires back, scoring 2 goals in 30 seconds to take the early lead.
And from there, the Golden Eagles hit the gas, and senior attacker Shea Garcia leads the pack in a scoring affair in the opening frame.
6 different Marquette players find the back of the net in the frame to extend the lead.
But Garcia catches fire, scoring 7 first-quarter goals with 2 coming in the last 13 seconds.
And it's all Marquette from there as the women score 5 more goals in the second quarter to go up big at halftime.
And thanks to big 2 goals from senior attacker Mary Schumar, the Golden Eagles find themselves up 17-6 at the break.
Marquette zeroes in on the defensive end and allows just 1 second-half goal en route to a dominating victory over Xavier 22-7.
And with their 12-1 record, the Golden Eagles are receiving votes in the latest IWLCA Division I poll. For the first time ever, the amount of votes Marquette received was not announced.
Truly historic, Sarah. And now, not only was this a historic day for Marquette, but it was also a career day for Shea Garcia as well.
It certainly was, Gabriel. And with her 8-goal afternoon, Garcia sets a program record for the most goals in one game, breaking the previous record of 7.
But that's not all. Garcia also is now the first Marquette player to ever reach 200 career points, and she sits alone as the all-time point leader in Golden Eagle history.
So I also didn't know that was the program record, but I definitely couldn't have done it without Mary Schumar just putting those passes straight on my stick. Definitely couldn't do it without her, and just all my other teammates just setting me up.
And of course, after a historic performance, Garcia earns the Big East Attacker of the Week award. Meanwhile, Garcia is coming off a 10-goal week, helping Marquette defeat both Xavier and Ohio State while staying perfect in the Big East. But Garcia is not the only one coming away with Big East honors for Marquette. Senior attacker Mary Schumar also earns Big East recognition with a spot on the weekly honor roll. Schumar makes the honor roll after a 13-point week that included 11 total assists. She currently leads the nation in assists with 50.
And with that, we'd like to now welcome in women's lacrosse beat reporter Jackson Gross. Jackson, thanks for coming on the show.
Always happy to be on GSR.
So the women are coming off a dominating win against Xavier. How were they able to click so early?
Well, it was kind of a feeling out process because this was the first time Marquette ever played Xavier in program history. This is Xavier's first time as a Division I program. So it was a little bit of feeling out process early on in the game. It was about 5-4, I'd say about midway through the first quarter. But overall, Marquette's offense just really got rolling, as you guys talked about. Shea Garcia was unstoppable. 7 first quarter goals, tied the program record in 1 quarter, which was insane. And just really dominant play all afternoon. Just really good on the draw controls. Just they've been a top 5 team in the country all season long in that department. Just a complete effort against a team that's still finding themselves in Xavier. I believe they have at least 15 to 20 first-year players on their roster, not a ton of veteran experience. So it was a tough matchup for Xavier with how well Marquette's been playing all season long. But it was good for Marquette to take advantage of that opportunity and come away with another win.
Awesome. So you talk a lot about Shea Garcia. Obviously, she was undoubtedly the X factor, scoring 8 goals to reach 200 career points. Is she the reason Marquette has been winning? And can she go down as one of the best in Golden Eagle history?
Funny enough, Shea Garcia is not even the leading goal scorer on this Marquette roster. That'd be senior midfielder Lydia Faust, who I believe has over 40 on the year already. So really, it's just been an incredible effort, both in the progression of the players that are already been here, but some new key contributors. Brennan Nixon, the sophomore goalkeeper, taking over the starting job from Amanda Rumsey last year, who was a grad transfer. Tess Osborne, who's a first year, has contributed some really big scoring as a first year. And then it also just the overall progression, like I said, of how many different players. But Shea Garcia has been absolutely incredible all season long. She came back for her 5th year using that COVID year she was granted. And I think, honestly, she might already be one of the best Golden Eagles in program history. The program's only been around since 2013, but to be the first player to reach 200 career points, I think that says a lot of how much she's been able to do, especially with a shortened 2020 season.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marquette is now 2nd place behind Denver in the Big East at 2-0. With a game against UConn this weekend, how can Marquette keep the undefeated streak alive?
It's going to be tough. They haven't had a top 25 win at all this year. They had their only game against another top 25 opponent was Northwestern, in which they lost by double digits in that one. But it's really just going to come down to bringing that effort and energy all night long or all morning long whenever the game's taking place. But it's going to be tough. UConn's a top 25 team in the country, as we've been saying, and I think it's just going to come down to, can Marquette continue to win the draw control battle against some of the better teams in the conference and in the country right now? Because that's something they did struggle against Northwestern early on in the year. So if they can hold on to the draw control, get a lot of shots, they're a top 5 team in the country in shots on goal and goals per game. So if they can get a lot of shots up, they can score a lot of goals. And the more chances you give yourself against a better team, that'll be great. And then on the defensive end, just make sure you continue to communicate between the back end and Brennan Nixon. That's going to be a huge thing moving forward, and just limiting the amount of free position shots and yellow cards that you're taking.
Nice. Now, Jackson, you mentioned a moment ago, the program was originated in 2013, you said?
Yes.
So about 10 years. This is the first time in program history that the women have been receiving votes. How big is this for the team, and can you see them being ranked in the future?
If they can get a win over UConn this weekend, I think they have a pretty good shot of being ranked moving forward. Obviously, we don't know how many votes they got and how exactly close they were. Were they unofficially 27, 28, or was it somewhere in the 30s? We don't know. As for what it means to the program, it's huge, because when you're starting to start a program, it can take a while to finally get to where you want to be. And every single year, this lacrosse program has slowly built up. They made a few Big East tournament appearances. I don't think they've ever been able to get out of the first round of the Big East tournament, but they're finally at that spot where they can really compete with a Denver, a Georgetown, a UConn this year. So it's taken a long time. This is their 11th season existing as a D1 program. So it says a lot, and especially for head coach Meredith Black. She's been the head coach every single season for this program. So it just shows how much dedication she has for the program and how much she's been able to do for Marquette to build it to where they were as just a young team starting out like Xavier, who they played the other day, to now where they're one of the top teams in the Big East.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your answers, Jackson, but that is all the time we have for now. But coming up, how did the men's lacrosse team fare against Cornell? We'll discuss more after the break.
Bring it. Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. How about some one-on-one? I gotta go eat, man. Sorry. I'll see you later.
Stem is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to load their minds. Dare to explore. Dare to STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Sarah Richardson.
And I'm Gabriel Cicerico. The men's lacrosse team heads to Cornell University to hit the field and not the books.
After a big conference win versus St. John's, the Golden Eagles challenged the number 7 Big Red. Marquette starts off the scoring early when senior attacker Devin Cowan finds back of the net. But Cornell is relentless for the rest of the first quarter and scores 7 unanswered goals. The Big Red pick up where they left off in the second quarter and open up the period with 3 goals. The rest of the first half is split evenly. Both teams score 4 goals each before heading to the locker rooms for halftime, with Cornell leading 14-5.
And while the Golden Eagles have some fight left in them, it's ultimately not enough as the Big Red handle the Birds with ease, winning 21-11. And lost in the blowout is the impressive performance from sophomore attacker Bobby O'Grady. O'Grady logged 3 goals in the loss and now has 7 hat tricks on the season so far. And after a big week for Marquette Athletics, we break down the top 5 moments of the week. Coming in at number 5, starting off hot, the men's tennis team win a thriller on Senior Day. It came down to the final point, but last year's All-Big East first-teamer Stefan Dragovic delivers in crunch time and gets the tiebreaker victory to give Marquette the win over Villanova on Senior Day. And, well, the votes are in, and the women's lacrosse team takes the 4th best moment of the week. And after beating Xavier and Ohio State last week, Marquette receives votes in the latest Division I poll for the first time in program history, and the Golden Eagles are sitting pretty at 12-1 on the season. And the men's lacrosse first-year midfielder Charlie Reynolds scores the 3rd best moment of the week for Marquette. Not only did he get his first career goal against St. John's, but also Reynolds notches his first career hat trick for the Golden Eagles in the win over the Johnnies. And this is just the beginning for Reynolds and his career. Reynolds might have just started scoring, but this women's lacrosse vets record-breaking performance lands her at number 2. Garcia was on fire against Xavier and punched in 8 total goals, scoring 7 in the first quarter alone. And while this historic stat line, Garcia now holds the record for most goals in a game, breaking the previous record of 7. She's top 2, but certainly not 2. Shea Garcia steals the show again for the top moment of the week. And with her 10-point performance over the last 2 games, Garcia is the first Marquette player to ever reach 200 points in the program. And with 200 career points and counting, Garcia is now the all-time leading point scorer in women's lacrosse program history. And that's our top moments of the week, but don't go anywhere, because coming up in professional sports, did Odell just save the Ravens? Also, are the Mavs in trouble? We dive in after the break.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It all can get so out of control. Sometimes you can lose your faith, you can lose your mind, lose your grip, get stripped of your pride till you don't know how you're gonna stay alive. Hey, hey, I got you. I will give you what you need, and I'll be right there. I got you back. I got you.
And welcome back to Studio 7 as we discuss the Odell signing, the Mavericks, and more. Joining me on the panel tonight is London Davis and Gabriel Cicerega. Let's get to it already. After lots of speculation, Odell Beckham Jr. has officially signed with the Baltimore Ravens. The deal is a 1-year deal for $18 million and incentives. What does this deal do for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? Gabriel, we'll start with you.
Honestly, not the biggest fan of this deal. I mean, OBJ signed for $15 million plus the $3 million in incentives, but at 30 years old and a torn ACL previously, I don't know if this does a whole lot for the Ravens. I mean, a team that's kind of falling apart and we have no idea what's happening with Lamar Jackson. It doesn't seem like he's going to stay. I don't know. I think they overpaid OBJ and they should have been focused on their star quarterback from the beginning.
I mean, listen, I think it is a great move for the Ravens to keep Lamar happy and put him in a situation where he doesn't want to leave. And it's also a great move to, if OBJ can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, this is an absolutely great move. But OBJ has not been the same Odell that we've seen when he was in New York. We haven't. He hasn't played since the Super Bowl when he was on the Chargers. And I don't think he's going to be the same him. If the Ravens are not playing bad, or excuse me, are not playing good, and they're playing pretty bad, I think we're going to see another situation where Lamar is sitting out and is going to ask for a trade midway through the season. So honestly, it's kind of iffy for me.
You got to pay him. I mean, if we're paying OBJ $15 million plus the incentives, like, you got to pay Lamar. You got to pay your quarterback first. It's a former MVP. Quarterback is the most important position in football. They got to worry about him first and worry about those around him second.
Well, I mean, if you guys think the Ravens paid OBJ, do you think they'll pay Lamar, or do you think he should just leave?
I do. I think they're going to franchise tag Lamar, and I do think they're going to pay him. They're going to do anything to keep him happy. Anything to keep him with the organization. I do believe that is going to be what it takes.
I mean, I think if the Ravens want to win some games, then they'll do it. But, I mean, you have to. You have to pay him. You can't just find quarterbacks and expect, to be a decent team. They must pay Lamar Jackson if they want any chance of making the playoffs and going farther.
Yeah.
At what cost, as they say. Well, moving on to the NBA, the Timberwolves may have literally thrown away their season in just one game. Last Sunday, the Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert punched forward Kyle Anderson on the bench during a timeout. Gobert will serve a one-game suspension for his actions. And meanwhile, forward Jaden McDaniels punched a wall on the way back to the locker room, leading to a fractured hand. McDaniels could be out for the entire playoffs. So, with all these recent developments, that to an already underwhelming season, just how bad has this gotten for the Timberwolves?
I mean, listen, this happens within teams. I don't think what Rudy did was acceptable, but it happens. When towards the end of the season, we see these squabbles within the team, and it happened with Miami last year. It's just getting them ready. The stakes are really high, like extremely high. This is the playoffs we're talking about. Everybody wants to win. If your goal is not to win the championship, you shouldn't be in the league. It's simple, but we see this. The trade with Rudy, though, I do think it was a good trade in terms of finding a big who can defend, because Cat, he just can't defend. He's not a good defender. But let me tell you this. Rudy Gobert is sorry. He's not good. This is just my personal opinion. He's not a good player. He is a liability across the floor. When you have a star like Anthony Edwards, who is a drive-first star, he's closing up the paint, he's clogging it, and is not creating opportunities, especially now with trading shooters around to the Lakers like D'Angelo Russell. It's limiting their offense and who they can kick it out to. And Cat he's not a star caliber player. He's not a first option on a team, on a superstar team at least. I can't see it. So this Rudy trade really has me thinking, and I just don't think it was a good trade overall.
What do you think, Gabe?
I'm so with you, London, at least with the fact that this trade was not it for the Timberwolves. You're talking about a team that's in the same exact spot that they were in last year. If anything, they're doing worse. And we're talking about Rudy Gobert coming in. He's going to be out for the first game of the play-in. Their center, Naz Reid, is out for the first game, and it could be out for the entire series. You have starting center Karl Anthony Towns, who's been out for over half the season and now might not play in the playoffs because he's, has a strained left calf or something like that. He might not play. So we're talking about a team that's in the play-in spot. They traded for a center who hasn't helped them at all, and now he'll be sitting on the bench because he's busy arguing with one of his teammates. Not to mention, Jaden McDaniels punched a wall. Literally punched a wall and has a fractured hand. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota, but they are in shambles, and now they have no wiggle room to do anything else. They're going to be stuck in this middle ground, which you mentioned earlier is the worst place to be in sports because they're not a contender. They don't have half their players. And even when they do, you have players who are fighting with each other and punching walls. It's a mess in Minnesota. And quite frankly, the Rudy Gobert trade is just not it for the Timberwolves.
Not to mention Jaden McDaniels is their star defender. So going into that situation, going against the Lakers, that's just putting you in a very tough position.
Because he's guarding LeBron and Anthony. Like, Jaden McDaniels will switch on either of them.
Yes.
He is their fluid defender, and he's busy dealing with a hand that he punched through a wall.
That's ridiculous. I know for a fact that, how bad could it be if Rudy Gobert isn't even that good in the first place? He's out for a game. We'll see how things go. But looking to the Dallas Mavericks, in February, they made a blockbuster trade to get all-star point guard Kyrie Irving. And since that trade, the Mavericks are 8-12 and find themselves at home for the postseason. What does the future look like for Kyrie and the Dallas Mavs? We'll start with London.
I just don't think that Kyrie is going to stay in Dallas. This was a move because his contract was ending in Brooklyn. And this was a move that was not for him. It was for the Nets organization. This not at all was for Kyrie, and he's out of there. There's no reason he needs to stay. But do not blame Kyrie for the fall off of the Mavericks. Blame Mark Cuban. He is not, no, listen, I'm sorry, Mark, you are a businessman, just not for an NBA organization. You can't be. Y'all need to put pieces around Luka. Scoring does not win you championships. It just doesn't. We've seen it with the Nets and having KD, Harden, and Kyrie. We thought that, oh, this was a great super team. You have all of these stars to, score. But there was no defense. And now we see that in Dallas, and that is the reason why they lost. That is the reason why they are not in the playoffs, let alone the play-in.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm just keeping it real. It is bad. You have Kyrie Irving who comes in. We're like, okay, can the Dallas Mavericks compete? Like, they made a move, and I liked it originally. But they're 8-12 since Kyrie Irving joined the Mavericks. And quite frankly, when you have two ball-dominant guards and no ability to defend, it leaves them kind of stranded. We watched the Mavericks lose 2 close games within the last 2 weeks of the season because they didn't know who was going to shoot the last shot, whether it was Kyrie or Luka. They ended up missing. And one of the games, they didn't even get a shot off at the end. They've been abysmal since the trade. And quite frankly, Dallas, they got some work to do. They got rid of Dorian Finney-Smith, who I really liked. He was their dominant all-ball defender. And we talked about it with the Timberwolves because this NBA has been going towards, scoring the basketball. But you have to be able to defend at least a little bit if you want to contend for something bigger. And forget about contending. They're not even in the play-in game. We're talking about the 11 seed in the Western Conference. The Dallas Mavericks look bad, and they don't have a lot of leeway. They don't have a lot of pieces to trade. They don't Kyrie might leave, but the Mavericks they're not in a good spot.
Yeah, well, the playoffs are coming up soon, and the NBA play-in tournament starts tonight, and they're rounding the corner, as I just said, the playoffs. It looks as if there could be some upsets throughout the entirety of the tournament. Who do you guys have making it out of the play-in? We'll start with Gabriel this time.
Out of the play-in, I really like the Miami Heat as well as the Chicago Bulls on the East. And then on the Western Conference side, this is tough. London, tell me yours first.
Western Conference side, I have the Lakers beating the T-Wolves. With Rudy Gobert out, it doesn't leave that defensive presence in the paint. And Anthony Davis, as great as he has been playing this season, when healthy, AD is a top 3 power forward. Honestly, the best power forward in the league when healthy. And I don't see the T-Wolves beating the Lakers with all of the situations that's escalating around their team. And I also have the Pelicans beating the Thunder. The Thunder are a really young team. I wouldn't be surprised if I seen an upset. With the way Shea has been playing this year, oh my, chef's kiss. Like, oh my gosh, Shea, listen. But I wouldn't be surprised if I seen an upset because Shea is him, literally. But the Pelicans they just have a better team. They have more playoff experience. So that's who I got on the Western Conference side.
Yeah, I was stuck on the Western Conference for a little bit. Not really with the Lakers and Timberwolves. I talked about the Timberwolves enough. I mean, it's just not really going to happen, especially against a team with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and so on. The Lakers kind of got that one. But that Pelicans-Thunder matchup is interesting because you talked about Shea, who's averaging 31 points per game, took that next step this season. And the Pelicans are just a weird team. They've had players in and out of their lineup all season. Zion has had a whole bunch of ligament problems in his leg. He hasn't played in a long time. But Brandon Ingram just came back. He's been playing well. CJ McCollum has been playing also very well. And the Pelicans can defend the ball. The West is really close, and they got a lot of teams, even the play-in teams that can win at least a first-round series.
Who did you say you had against Raptors and Bulls?
The Bulls.
Bulls?
Yeah.
I disagree.
It's the only team that matters. All I care about is the Chicago Bulls. They're going to win it. They're going to get in the tournament. They're in. Well, speaking of the tournament, it's stacked round to round, and it looks as if anything can happen, as we were just discussing. What are your playoff predictions?
I'll take this one.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, we are going to have the finals rematch that nobody wants, but we're going to get. It's simple. We're going to get the Suns versus the Bucks. We got to bring it back. The Suns are 8-0 when KD is on the floor. KD is KD. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. And I don't see any team beating a healthy Milwaukee Bucks, especially with Chris Middleton coming back. That just makes it tougher for everyone. Giannis being, in my opinion, MVP of the league. I know that's a bit of a kind of, it's a tough question. But, hey, I got Giannis as my MVP, and with him playing the way he does, I just don't see anyone beating that team.
Gabriel, what do you think?
I like the Bucks. I also like the Suns, but talk about the Kardashian curse. Who knows if the Suns are going to be able to take it?
Suns all day.
I think it's the Bucks, but hey, thanks for the great discussion. That is all the time we have, unfortunately. Tune in next week for all of our coverage of Marquette sports and more. I'm Sarah Richardson. Good night, Marquette.